many people come to us and say, hey, I have X amount. Is that enough? And really what it's about is having enough to make you able to pay your bills, reliable, sustainable cash flow.
Mhm.
That's what we want to know about.
And welcome into Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland's certified financial planning professional, Tim Stearns, CFP. Here with us, as always, on the program, TJ Stearns Inc. is the firm that he founded, helping proactive savers and investors throughout the Chicagoland area formulate that Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint. Tim, we always appreciate your time. We're going to be talking about the anatomy of a retirement plan on today's program, but you usually start us off with the tip of the week.
Here's my tip of the week, Peter. The stock market is not everything. And what do I mean by that? We are meeting so many people who've done a great job of accumulating assets, and they've done a great job of being in mutual funds and being diversified and that type of thing. But that is only a part of what you need to do for retirement. And when you're doing a retirement plan, much more is baked into it than just that.
Well, I think you are segueing nicely into our topic for the week, which is the anatomy of a retirement plan and how all of the pieces fit together. Tim, I think if we think about anatomy, human anatomy, if we had any of our systems missing, I think that the human body would fail on us very quickly, right? And I don't know if you recall anatomy class, but we got the vascular system, the nervous system, the muscular system, the skeletal system, right? They all depend on each other in large part to function day to day.
Right. And it all needs to work together. You can't have one part working and the other part's not. And that's why we're trying to tell people, let's look first at what your foundation is going to look like, much like you're building a home.
Mhm.
Start with the foundation, the keystone, whatever the most important part is, as you say. Um, you know, Goals guide decisions, lifestyle is going to drive your income needs, and the purpose literally defines the plan.
Yep. Back to your blueprint analogy, which we love, but you have to have the budget for the kind of home that you are looking to build. And then you bring in electricians and plumbers and general contractors and people who are doing the roof are probably not the same people who are putting in the kitchen appliances and countertops. So all of them are coordinated in order to get your vision, just like Tim, the anatomy of a financial plan is much more than just investments, just access to the market. Investments are important, but income and taxes and healthcare and risk management all must play a part. And you're right. I think it's always a good place to start with the foundation. So what does a retirement foundation look like, Tim, for clients there at TJ Stearns Inc.?
Well, we're going to literally define what their budget is. We're going to make sure that we both understand how we're going to arrive to that, which is, you got to make sure you know your expenses. And then just part and parcel with that is you're going to need to know what the income is that's coming into the house, Social Security, if you have a pension, so we check the needs with the wants and then make sure that we are setting the balance there. The next part would be, and the most important part is income.
Right.
How do you pay your bills?
Yeah. But Tim, the lifestyle, the expenses, the goals and the purpose really
Yeah.
define the plan and then
Yep.
move into that income, which is the engine, if you will, of retirement, right? It's been our engine. In fact, during our working career, nothing changes about that in retirement.
Well, not everyone, but many people come to us and say, hey, I have X amount. Is that enough? And really what it's about is having enough to make you be able to pay your bills, reliable, sustainable cash flow.
Mhm.
That's what we want to know about is, are you able to make your bills every month? And then obviously have a good retirement, have fun. So when we're doing that, we're looking at these different income sources, Social Security, pensions, annuities, guaranteed income, investment withdrawals from a growth fund, let's say, or rental or business income even. But the goal is to cover essential expenses with dependable income and fund discretionary spending intentionally.
And Tim, during our working career, showing up to work, earning the paycheck has given us the ability to invest. And I don't think this changes in retirement either, except the money direction does change. We were putting money in, now we're pulling money out, but it is the income from those sources that you've mentioned that give us the continued ability to take risk with our money in the hopes of growth. The ability to continue investing, but only after the income need is addressed, right? Here's where the anatomy starts to interplay and be codependent.
Well, think about what your parents started with you about it's all about accumulating money for, your bank account. Then it was for college, then it was for life. And now these people get to let's call it the finish line as far as working, and they've got an accumulation pile, but they don't have any clue how to decumulate. And that's what we run into over and over is people, there's a fine line. We don't want to spend too much and we don't want to spend too little.
Yep. But the investments are the fuel source for that engine, which is
Yep.
generating that income. And
Yep.
so, Tim, we really do need to look at protecting the system as a whole, our defense mechanisms, the risk management that we have in place.
Right. So, I mean, you have to look at growth, you have to look at risk management, and that's a big one right now because people are taking a lot of risk in the market and a very high valued stock market. And, everyone is a stock warrior until it goes down 30%, and then they're not. And that's what you need to make sure that you're understanding that you're going to be pulling money out now. So when you're going to need liquidity, but you have to make sure that you understand where that's going to come from, which we call it income support.
And Tim, the taxes that we will pay, kind of the drain on the system, and you've talked about it being one of our largest known expenses in retirement. We certainly have to plan for efficiency, a lifetime of tax efficiency.
Right. Your partner for life, besides your spouse, is most likely going to be the IRS. And you have plans for your money, so do they. So you need to make sure you're understanding what that tax bill looks like and how you can maybe shave that down, of course, legally.
This is the worst kind of partnership, Tim.
I would agree. You called it the invisible drain. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. So, are you helping clients to strategize and minimize the taxes on their accounts? I mean, we've built up these large tax deferred accounts, and kudos to us, right? Good
Yeah.
for us. We've done a good thing, but we've got that big of a problem when we look at managing the taxes on the other side of it.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of a catch 22. You're all excited that you have this pile of money, and then you realize that someone's going to take, probably about a third of it,
Hmm.
depending, and if you don't do anything. And if you don't do anything, you're resigning yourself to their tax program. I would argue let's not do that. And so we are looking at Roth conversions. We're looking at, Social Security taxation, trying to avoid Medicare IRMA surcharges, and of course, capital gains management.
All go into the category the system of tax efficiency here. And Tim, you just mentioned it with Irma there, or hinted toward it. Health care, long-term care, that's the wild card. That's something that we certainly have to plan for. Another part of the total anatomy of a solid retirement plan.
Right. So, and then of course, the other wild card we're looking at is healthcare and long-term care. And we've talked about this 100 times, but I will say it another time. 7 out of 10 people over the age of 65 will need long-term care in their lifetime. And 9 out of 10 of them have not even thought about addressing it. They know it's out there. They don't want to talk about it, but it's something that we definitely put on our table. And I find that a lot of advisors won't do that. And, that's an 800-pound gorilla that can really devastate your retirement.
Nobody wants to talk about it, though,
Of
right,
course.
Tim? I mean, it is very difficult to approach this subject. How do you bring that up delicately with your clients, or is delicately not a factor when having this conversation? It's so essential.
I hate to say it, but cold water on the face is the best objective there. The best strategy with people because I don't think they realize how bad. We were looking at a couple places around here for one of my clients, his dad, and it's 12,000 to 15,000 a month, and he's got dementia, and he's in great physical health.
Hmm.
I mean, that can really, speaking of a drain on assets, that's one of them.
I've recently run into a couple that is going through that as well, Tim, as well as a daughter whose mother passed away younger than expected. Guess what? Neither one of them had in place the legal documents, and that's another essential part, right? The what happens next doesn't always happen on our intended timeline.
Right. And probate around the Chicagoland area is on average 2 years. And there's hard to get access to the money. So you need to make sure that you have wills and trusts, beneficiary designations, power of attorneys, healthcare directive, and then, even nowadays in Illinois, looking at estate tax considerations. And with that comes, having to do some planning, but it's a lot better than the alternative.
If we are in that category where estate taxes are going to be an issue, Tim, that's a higher level, more sophisticated planning probably needed there, right?
Right. And that's what we make sure that we have a CPA and an estate attorney on staff to help us get through that.
Tim, I know that as we're talking about the anatomy and all of these systems interplaying, the coordination is what makes all of these parts work together. And going back to your tip of the week, most people have done a reasonable job, at least that you talk to, of having access to the market. It's a very important part of this whole thing, but it is only part. And if that's the only part that we've really looked at and focused on, then we don't have that coordination where all of these systems are working together.
That's right. And were you not seeing where, you know, people are understanding that income decisions will impact your taxes and Medicare premiums.
Mhm.
Investment risk affects income stability, and then tax strategy obviously influences your legacy outcomes.
Yep.
So the talking cues that we're saying to people, is isolated decisions create unintended consequences. And you've said that before on our show. But make sure that coordination improves efficiency. That's a reason to do it. And the whole is greater than the sum of the parts in many cases.
And then this is not a one and done thing, right,
No,
Tim?
no, it is a dynamic protect and grow plan that life is going to come at you and it's going to be there for you.
And that's why it is called, ladies and gentlemen, the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Blueprint. It is a strategy put in writing today, but the ongoing monitoring and adjustments come through the relationship with a experienced, qualified professional, a certified financial planning professional like Tim Stearns, CFP. And Tim, what are like the surface level? What do people need to be doing in order to have some relative assurance that their plan is being kept up to date?
I mean, you want to make sure that you're, doing annual reviews so it prevents these surprises. Flexibility is going to be essential. And planning, as we said, is an ongoing process. It's dynamic.
Yeah. Tim, as we look at the anatomy of a plan, are there any common ailments, common gaps in the planning process where things are not as stable or as coordinated as they should be?
Let's start with the most important one, which is not having a formal income plan. Winging it in retirement is not a thing. Underestimating taxes, unaddressed healthcare risk, outdated legal documents, and lastly, the over-reliance on investments that are in, volatile stocks and that type of thing.
But it is a complete system if you've got that plan with coordination, Tim.
That's
And
right.
the
That's
the
exactly.
dominoes either, sorry, but they either stack and fall in your favor or fall against you. And if you have ignored any one of these elements and how it is coordinated, that's just an indication that things could be falling against you into the future.
Right. And you want to keep the momentum going the right way, is what you just said. And that's what we think, having a dynamic plan will do that.
Well, again, coordination does create the confidence, ladies and gentlemen, and you begin to get that confidence from having that plan in place. That is your best investment, a plan for your financial future that coordinates all of these elements. And that's exactly what the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Blueprint strives to help you achieve and accomplish and feel confident that you have addressed. So if you would like to get that, no cost, no obligation, it is a courtesy service that Tim Stearns, CFP, and his team of professionals there at TJ Stearns Inc. offer to put together as an extension of the information on this program. And remember, this information, very generic in nature. We were talking about high-level concepts today, but to apply this to your situation and make sure all of these elements are coordinated and addressed for you. That is what the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Blueprint will do. A one-on-one conversation, a plan detailing your goals, your timeline, your objectives for your financial future, customized strategies reflecting that long-term vision with diversified investments for how to help you get there, helping you understand the risks that you're taking, the fees that you're paying, the taxes that you will be liable for, strategies to optimize and be more efficient in all aspects of that plan. So give a call, 800-640-2256. That is 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. And Tim, you circling back, the number one question you get, do I have enough? And I think it's everybody's goal. Create more income, pay less in taxes. You can't do that without coordinated planning.
I agree with that. And that's what we try to do here with our Protect and Grow plan.
Get the plans in your hands, ladies and gentlemen, that will help you feel more confident about your financial future. That is the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Blueprint. Pick up the phone, give a call, 800-640-2256. That is 800-640-2256. Tim, always a pleasure having you here on Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement.
All right. Thanks, Peter.
Tune into Chicagoland Certified Financial Planner Tim Stern's full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.